in the past, with metrics in other systems, you're looking for that error word or a debug word or a specific word that indicates that something is wrong. But with Gen AI, really, you cannot. There is nothing that you can say. Okay, I'm going to look for these specifically to tell me that it's wrong, because the scope of what can be wrong is very large.
What do we want to keep track of then in order to give us hints of that, of something maybe being wrong?
Absolutely. So I mean, you're gonna start recording all that input and output, right? Once you have that output, there is gonna be certain things that you're gonna do. Sasha, I don't know if you agree with me, but a lot of the times with the output, you will end up having to parse it into another kind of like sentiment analysis, given that the output is very large. And I'm talking about LLMs, right? Because that's one of the most popular ones right now out there. There is other Gen AI stuff that is out there, but once you have the output, you can be looking at some sentiment analysis, or put it into a parser that understands what, like, for example, bad language is, like any profanity or any words that you really don't want to come out. And then you'll be able to see, okay, what is happening here. On the other spectrum, you have certain things, certain output that you may not want to disclose to the user because it's against internal policy. It may be given something that you don't want to share with customers. And so you will have to be looking for a specific, how can I put it? Specific ideas. And really the best way to go about it is to use another machine learning model to say, what is the sentiment? What is the intent of this text? And be able to say yes or no. And if you say no, then ideally it's like, okay, I'm not going to send that to the customer. But even if you record it to be able to do analysis in the long term, that's going to be very useful to see how the responses are changing over time. And if there is anything that you want to step back and say, you know what, I need to change the one. I need to do something because he's providing an answer that I don't like. Maybe the tone, maybe I need to change the way I ask it for the prompt, to change the tone, the vocabulary, do something different. So you will be able to do all of that if you're recording that output as a whole.
I think this is an important point here. We have customers where they, as customers, actually, right, I got a really bad feedback response from your model. And how do you keep track of this? You need to somehow track the session of the user. You need to log the input, the output, and only then you're actually able to validate what happened, what went wrong, and figure out what you can actually do about it. Maybe you need to adapt your prompt, and maybe you need to choose a different model, but you need to keep track of all this information, like input, outputs, in addition to what we anyway track, like errors, hardware utilization, response times. But yeah, with GenAI, we have this additional layer on additional information we need to keep track of.
Right, because not every user is going to say, hey, I didn't like your output. They're just going to stop using that tool or your that feature or your app completely.